After 44 years of service, the venerable UH-60 Black Hawk finally has a replacement. After fierce competition, the Bell Textron V-280 Valor was crowned the FLRAA program's pick to become America's new premier helicopter. The road was not easy, but Bell's design absolutely passed all Air Force tests, proving it is ready to enter service in 2030. The Black Hawks are still a long way from leaving their throne, but we already know the name and face of the heir to the crown. In this new video we are going to get to know its capabilities in depth, and what were the reasons that led the Army to choose the V-280 Valor. Stay with us to know everything about it. On December 5, 2022, a historic step was completed within the United States Air Force. That day it was confirmed that the Bell V-280 Valor was the winning model of the FLRAA, or Future Long-Range Assault Aircraft, program, which means that in the coming years it will replace the UH-60 Black Hawk as the backbone of North American helicopters. Gone was Sikorsky's Defiant X and many years of trials, flight tests and speculation as to which would be the winning aircraft. The presentation was attended by politicians and businessmen related to development, including Scott Donnelly, President and CEO of Textron. We intend to honor America's trust by building a truly remarkable and transformative weapons system to meet the Army's requirements. We are excited to play an important role in the future of aviation, said Donnelly after the event. Their enthusiasm is understandable. The contract to produce the Bell Textron V-280 Valorant fleet is one of the largest and most valuable to the United States in almost 40 years. The first phase of the investment consists of $232 million, which will be paid in order to refine the digital design of the weapons system, the maintenance plans, manufacturing, systems integration, flight tests, and the qualification of airworthiness. The final figure for the development and production of the V-280 is $1.2 billion, but it could be even higher if foreign sales are made. Some military experts and analysts suggest that amount could be as high as $7 billion, making it one of the largest contracts in recent history. It was not for nothing that two of the main helicopter manufacturing companies on the planet were fighting to emerge victorious from the FLRAA program. The Bell V-280 Valor's journey to the throne began in 2013, when the Bell Company began development and flight testing as part of the Joint Multi-Role Technology Demonstrator program. Later the competition to replace the UH-60 Black Hawk was launched, and Bell did not hesitate to enter. The model's progress continued apace, and as flight tests returned positive results, its chances of becoming America's new premier helicopter became more real. On Bell's side, CEO Mitch Snyder stated, "This is an exciting time for the U.S. Army, Bell and Team Valor as we modernize Army aviation capabilities for decades to come. Bell has a long history of supporting Army aviation, and we stand ready to equip soldiers with the speed and range they need to compete and win." Snyder's words serve as a basis to know in detail what this platform offers the United States Air Force. The V-280 Valor is a multi-purpose military aircraft, classified as a convertiplane or tilt-rotor aircraft, which has both vertical takeoff and landing capabilities, as well as short takeoff and landing capabilities. It is designed to reach a cruising speed of 520 km per hour, reaching a maximum speed of 560 km per hour, with an effective combat range of between 930 and 1,480 km. To achieve these numbers, it employs two Rolls-Royce AE 1107F model turboshaft engines. The maximum takeoff weight is around 14,000 kilograms, something essential if we consider that it will replace the Black Hawk, one of the best utility helicopters in history. The Bell model will be able to transport a crew of 4 people and another 14 fully equipped soldiers. Dual cargo hooks give it the lifting capacity to carry heavy machinery, such as the M777A2 howitzer, making it vital in projecting U.S. military power into remote territories. In terms of design, the Bell V-280 has a length of 15.4 meters and a width of 24.9 meters, which makes it somewhat shorter than the UH-60 Black Hawk. The wing surfaces and sides are sandwich-shaped, reinforced with large-cell carbon cores to use fewer parts, reducing overall weight. We also note that the wings are made from a single section of carbon fiber reinforced polymer, which reduces production costs, a feature valued by the Army after problematic experiences designing the F-22 and F-35, projects that cost millions of dollars and whose maintenance is almost as expensive as production. The rest of the technical features of the Bell V-280 are still unknown. However, Defense News points out that the project is in the development phase to adapt the helicopter to the needs of the United States Armed Forces. The first aircraft is scheduled to enter service in 2030, although the U.S. may be interested in selling Bell V-280 Valor models to other countries, a quick way to recoup the Titanic investment made during the development program. The FLRAA program had a series of basic requirements to ensure that the new ship was a step into the future and not a technological step backwards. The helicopter was to have an autonomous combat radius of 560 kilometers for the Army and 830 kilometers for the Marines. Regarding the continuous cruising speed, the aircraft had to be handled between 520 and 611 kilometers per hour. In the case of the Army, the maximum load capacity had to be 1,500 kilograms or 8 passengers. As for the Marines, it was to be 2,400 kilograms or 12 passengers. While the V-280 doesn't meet all the desired goals, it is the most balanced, powerful, and cost-effective option. For sure, a determining factor in the choice of the Bell V-290 Valor is the recent experience gained with the design of the V-22 Osprey. Although they are not comparable designs, thousands of flight hours accumulated with Ospreys operated by the Marines, Air Force, and Navy have allowed Bell to perfect many details and technical aspects of this machine. All of that expertise was applied to the impressive V-280 Valor. By obtaining this multi-million-dollar contract, Bell has managed to guarantee the full occupancy of its production lines for the V-280 Valor. The company's next objective is to conquer the FARA program, or Future Attack Reconnaissance Aircraft, for which it presented the Bell 360 Invictus helicopter, which seeks to become the replacement for the AH-64 Apache for reconnaissance missions. At the moment, there is no news about that competition, but it is expected that it will soon have a resolution. In terms of military innovation, for the Soviet Union, size has always been important. One of the best examples of this doctrine is the Mi-26, the largest and most powerful helicopter ever mass-produced, a beast capable of carrying more than 20 tons, or dozens of fully equipped soldiers. So powerful that he was even in charge of rescuing American ships from dangerous territory. In this new installment of Military Aviation, we are going to review its history and its amazing characteristics to discover why it remains valid after 40 years of service. The Mi-26 was designed in the 1970s to provide the Soviet Army with a heavy helicopter for operations in remote parts of the Soviet Union. Keep in mind that Russia is huge, but it used to be even bigger, with a territory equivalent to many countries combined. The project was carried out under the leadership of the chief engineer Gennady Smirnov, who can be considered the father of the Mi-26. Initially known as Product 90, between 1971 and 1972 it underwent crucial changes to its powertrain, notably the addition of two D-136 turboshaft engines approved by the Soviet Union Scientific Council. The initial kick for the development of the Mi-26 were the operational shortcomings of other designs, such as the experimental V-12 birotor helicopter, which proved incapable of carrying out the arduous transport missions required by the socialist power. The Mi-26 required a long and expensive development of a completely new dynamic system, with proper rotor and transmission system. It was originally planned to use two rotors, like the American CH-47 Chinook or the Yak-24, but engineers eventually settled on a classic single-rotor scheme. This significantly reduced the weight of an already quite robust and heavy helicopter. In addition, it increased the cargo capacity, the fundamental quality of the Mi-26. To further decrease weight, a titanium alloy was also used for the main rotor hubs. The construction of the rotor blades was made with fiberglass, which meant an important advance over the wooden blades used in models such as the Mi-6. The air intakes were covered, making them resistant to arid and dusty climate, so as not to affect the capacity of the engines. One of the main requirements of the Soviet Army was that the aircraft be able to take off with a maximum load equal to twice the empty weight, a huge challenge that put engineers in trouble. Finally, after years of design, on December 14, 1977, the prototype of the helicopter, designated V-26, flew for 5 minutes, beginning a love story between this giant of the skies and Russia. Now that we know the design process, let's get acquainted with the dimensions and capabilities of the Mi-26 in detail. The Mi-26 has a length of 40 meters, a height of 8.1 meters, and its main rotor diameter is 32 meters. It has an empty weight of 28,200 kilograms, a loaded weight of 49,500 kilograms, and a maximum takeoff load of 56,000 kilograms. These figures make it the largest and most powerful series-produced helicopter in the world, and the largest single-rotor helicopter ever made. Megalomania and innovation is a trademark of Soviet aviation. But how does such a beast move? To do this, the engineers used two Lotarev D-136 turboshaft engines, which allow it to reach a maximum speed of 295 km per hour, with a flight ceiling of 4,600 meters and a range of 1,952 kilometers. This last figure is essential considering the gigantic distances it must travel to operate within Russian territory. Additionally, the Mi-26 has an overpressurized crew cabin for nuclear, radiological, biological, and chemical conditions. Together with the Mi-24-35 and the HAL-LCH, they are the only helicopters in the world with a pressurized cabin that have been produced in series. The latest version under development specially upgrades the aircraft's electronics and improves or adds defensive or all-weather operation capabilities. Russian pilots affectionately nicknamed it Cow, since its general configuration was similar to the previous heavy helicopter, the Mi-6, but with greater dimensions and weight, except in one detail. The Mi-26 has a smaller rotor, but with 8 blades, to which is added a power plant that generates almost twice the power, with 2 large turbines installed above the cockpit, which allows it to carry a load 66% higher than that of its ancestor. The superiority of the Cow is evident. Between May 1979 and August 1980, the Mi-26 passed state tests and received a recommendation for use by the Soviet Army. Serial production of the aircraft began on October 4, and since then it has not stopped, setting several operational records along the way. The capability of the Mi-26 was demonstrated on February 3, 1982 when, as the final result of a series of logistical feats, a test prototype of the Soviet model managed to lift a total mass of 56,768 kilograms to a height of 2,000 meters. But for a military transport aircraft, these achievements would be worthless if they couldn't be usefully applied in tactical situations. In 1996, an Mi-26 set a new record by carrying the largest group of paratroopers in history, a total of 224 people who jumped from a helicopter in flight. That's the equivalent of an entire airborne team for a military operation, and we're talking about just one helicopter. After several years of development, the helicopter is still relatively new to the Russian inventory, and is still in serial production and offered to various countries where it is used for personnel transport to faraway places, without a runway. Thanks to this, the Mi-26 has a rich and varied operational history despite being a transport craft designed to operate within Russian territorial limits. The debut of the Mi-26 was during the war in Afghanistan, although not the North American conflict, but the Russian intervention that took place between 1978 and 1992, where it fulfilled missions of transporting equipment and evacuating the wounded. They were even used to recover decommissioned Mi-8 helicopters. Likewise, as fate would have it, the Soviet-designed helicopter was used, in 2002, to extract 2 damaged American Boeing CH-47 Chinook helicopters and a Eurocopter AS-532 Cougar from the Afghan mountains. During the first years of the 21st century, the Russian government undertook an exploration and development campaign in the Arctic, which is why several Mi-26 units have been modernized and adapted to carry out operations in that climatic context, the most updated version being the Mi-26 T2. This version has the certified ability to fly in extreme conditions ranging from -40 to 50 degrees Celsius without perceiving damage to its systems. Due to its role, the Mi-26 has not suffered many losses in service, although a notable one occurred in August 2002, when Chechen separatists shot down one of these models with a surface-to-air missile, causing it to fall into a minefield. In total, 127 crew members died, making it one of the largest Russian air disasters. The ship was overloaded, for which reason investigations for negligence were initiated that culminated in the dismissal and sentence to prison of several soldiers. With more than 300 units built, the Mi-26 continues to be one of the Soviet pride of the Russian Air Force, with several records that are still far from being broken. We have reached the end of this video. If you like this content, we invite you to subscribe and activate notifications to be aware of our news. We will meet again in the next video of military aviation.